It's day 7 of us sailing across the Pacific Ocean. I can't believe we're coming on a week out here. A feeling of overwhelm still consumes me when I think of how far and how long we still have to go. So I continue to take each day and each stretch of water in front of us as it comes. But today is another beautiful day of sailing north. Since that southerly change came in, we've been able to set the boat up and mostly forget, letting her do what she does best. And allowing Mum and I the chance to finally settle into a routine out here.
Well, I think you meant to put it in your hair, not moisturise your face with it.
My mum is a little crazy, but I guess me being out here with her means that maybe I'm a little crazy too. I'm following in her footsteps. Well, in her ocean wake. Together we thought it would be a great adventure to sail non-stop from Australia to Japan, and we're doing so just the two of us. In front of us, endless water, endless squalls.
I feel like we're never going to get out of this. It's just like engulfed us.
And seemingly endless windless holes.
These equatorial conditions are really trying. You're either running light wind sails or reefing down with 2 reefs in the main, prepared for a cyclone.
Sailing 5,500 nautical miles non-stop across the Pacific isn't exactly a leisure activity. It's more type 2 fun.
This is kind of it's okay, Sophie.
There's something alluring about it.
Oh my god.
It drew us in. Mum for a second time and 32 other competitors completing this race. It's the Melbourne to Osaka double-hander, the world's longest longitudinal ocean race, taking competitors from 38 degrees south to 34 degrees north. It's like completing the Sydney to Hobart over 8 times non-stop. So as we're about to tick off one Sydney to Hobart, it's a relief to hear the water gushing past our hull with our bow pointing to the Solomon Sea. Especially as just a few days ago, we suffered a system failure that threatened our retirement.
We went to pump on the baby stay and there's no tension in anything. The baby stay is not, I suppose, so critical, but the backstay is the most critical component. So if the backstay is really loose, our mast is not supported.
It was day 4 and we were still in Bass Strait. A stretch of water that we should have cleared in just 2 to 3 days from the start line in Melbourne. But with doldrum-like conditions, we have struggled to make miles.
It hasn't been the start that Mum and I were hoping for.
So we were still off the Victorian coast.
We are somewhat making better grounds. Not exactly hitting our course, but
we were moving at least, and the sun was shining.
Which feels really good.
It was the first day I was feeling myself, energy-wise. Our bodies were adapting to being out on the water, and it was the first night Mum and I got some decent sleep.
Today is really just going to be about trying to get around the Victorian coastline. I think Mum and I are really looking forward to putting Bass Strait behind us.
We were so close to ticking off our first milestone in this journey, and while spirits have lifted,
we're just really grateful to be moving again.
There seems to be something not right with our hydraulic system, something that could play a detrimental role in our race.
We just had our hydraulics serviced prior to departing.
Our hydraulics is one single system that feeds the baby stay, the backstay, and the boom vane.
The boom vane, it was sort of starting to play up on Monday on race morning in that we would pump it on and put some load, but it was slipping, and so the boom starts to rise and sort of starts to float.
The boom vane controls the vertical angle of the boom and provides downward force to counter the upwards force of the mainsail. But ours, being hydraulic, has been losing pressure.
So I tried to pump it on again and then it would slip and come up again. But it got to the point where it was no longer working. Like when you tried to pump, it was just, there's no tension or anything on it.
Normally, as you pump and as the pressure increases, you feel more resistance, but we felt nothing.
So we ended up taking the vang off.
It was a bummer considering we just had it serviced, but it was a bit of gear that we could continue without and quite easily rig up an alternative, albeit not as effective, boom vang.
Maybe you won't notice the difference, but I'm currently sitting underneath the boom where the hydraulic vang used to be. Unfortunately, that's not working. We've just had some repairs on it before we left and they haven't held up. So we've had to take it off, the hydraulic vang, and Mum and I are getting creative with blocks this morning to try and make our own pulley, line, vang. That keeps the boom from jumping up, and trying to get some more tension on it to tighten the sail as well.
So we've just created a pulley system, but I mean Fika's a big boat and that's not really going to cut it as far as the vang goes for trimming the sail, but at least we can keep the boom at the correct angle.
This new boom vang looks like it's gonna have to get us to Osaka. Day 3 boom vang already down. Fingers crossed there's nothing else major that collapses or falls to bits.
But then today what we've found is that all of the hydraulic fluid had gone. At lunchtime today we went to pump on the baby stay and there's no tension in anything.
Which means now, with an empty fluid tank, our critical rigging is affected.
We're suspecting all of that hydraulic fluid has gone into the boom vang.
As each hydraulic component on the boat is intertwined, we left the vang connected to the system and lay it alongside on deck. The theory was so it didn't leak the hydraulic fluid.
There's no leakages around the vang. So where is all this hydraulic fluid going? We're suspecting in our dodgy vang.
If we can't keep the hydraulic fluid in the system and our baby and backstay now lose their pressure, we don't have any way to retension those components.
The backstay is the most critical component of our rigging. So if the backstay is really loose, our mast is not supported. We've got a 21-metre mast, so there's no way we're going to be able to create some sort of purchase system on our backstay to tension it. So without any tension, our mast is not in a very secure or safe position. The baby stay is not, I suppose, so critical, but again, all of that rigging is there to support the mast.
Which forces us to consider pulling over for repairs and, in the worst case, retire. Something Mum and I are determined not to do. So
we've filled up the hydraulic fluid again. We've looked for leaks, there's no leaks anywhere.
We've now isolated the fluid-hungry vang from the system and
we've tried to get the air out of the line, which we have done. We had to do that this afternoon.
After isolating the vang and bleeding the system, pressure was back in the baby and backstay. But nervous to touch the system, we're in no position to adjust or retension these rigging components. So we leave them at the pressure we initially set them on at the start line. Not being able to adjust the backstay isn't ideal and left us feeling a little uneasy, but at this stage we're able to continue in the race.
Yeah, that was almost looking like not good at lunchtime.
This was our second mishap aboard Fika.
Well, I didn't expect to have to come up the mast in the middle of Bass Strait, but here we are.
Which reminds me of when people ask if we get scared at sea. And to be honest, after spending so much time on the water, you get used to the ocean's many moods. And after experiencing adverse conditions a few times, your confidence builds as to what you can handle.
We definitely have a good 30 knots, 30 plus knots behind us. So yeah, hooking along.
But that's not to say, like this dilemma, that things still can't go wrong. And it's important to be prepared for as many situations as possible.
As sailors, you have to be a jack of all trades. But admittedly, one major thing that concerns Mum and I during this race is that if anything was to happen to our main power bank,
neither one of us is very technical when it comes to electrics. Losing our power supply could happen in a number of ways, from flooded builders, a lightning strike, or perhaps just a faulty component in the system. Losing power on a boat is generally not ideal, but in our current circumstances, it would almost certainly force our retirement from the race. Of course, we have ensured that we have a good power supply on board and multiple means of charging our batteries. We have the engine, a generator, and more recently we've installed a wind generator and solar panels. But if anything was to happen to our battery bank, these very quickly become redundant. It was important for us to carry a backup power supply that would get us out of trouble. Something that would enable us to get all the way to Japan, something that we could power up our satellite communications, charge our phones, and chart devices. These are the necessities that would keep us safe and in the race, but it would also be great to charge more luxury devices like our laptops, toothbrushes, and kitchen appliances. Luckily, we can do all of that and more with this one magic power box. We have been using EcoFlow magic power boxes for over a year now, and it was a no-brainer that they would be the best backup power solution for us. This is the Delta 3 Plus portable power station. It contains a LiFePO 4 battery with an IP65 dust and water resistance rating, which is all managed with an inbuilt BMS protection. So it is ideal for outdoor and on the water use. This power box alone can get us through a race-long power emergency with the ability to charge our phone 89 times on a single charge. And as we estimate, being out here for just over a month, that gives us plenty of free power to also utilize our satellite comms and safely complete the race. But we have gone a little further, and we've also brought aboard EcoFlow's 220 watt bifacial flexible solar panel. These are really cool and perfect for the non-proficient Sparky like Mum and I, as they are truly plug and play with the Delta 3's inbuilt solar charger. So with this combination, we have unlimited range and the perfect power backup for this race and beyond. The Delta 3 Plus has an insane output of 1800 watts, so there's not much it can't power. It is discreet and quiet while under load and charges from 0 to 100% in just 56 minutes. In addition, it's easy to take the Delta 3 with you anywhere due to its lightweight and compact design, weighing in at just 12.5 kilograms. So it's perfect for the last minute getaway with a capacity that will last all weekend with reasonable use. While EcoFlow's power stations are completely portable, they are also the perfect addition to a more permanent off-grid system. EcoFlow's extensive range suits almost any adventure or home backup application. Another fun thing, EcoFlow gave us the opportunity to try out their solar hat. This has actually got such good sun protection. And then it's got your little phone cord. Plug that in. No! Now, you can enjoy the sun on the aft deck, you're protected, and you can charge your phone at the same time. This is actually so good. Not gonna lie, I was skeptical of this solar charging hat at first, but the longer I've had it, the more reasons I can think of its usefulness. Music festivals, hikes, hiking in particular, where you can charge your phone when you're off-grid. This would be so good for hiking. We wanted this hat aboard for the race too, for if things turn south, we could bring it with us into the life raft to charge our sat phones for SOS calls. Pretty stoked with it, to be honest. I think it's great. Sorry to babble on, but it is hard not to get too carried away about products that we genuinely find so brilliant. Mum and I are incredibly grateful to have this system aboard with us. So I would highly recommend checking out EcoFlow's amazing power range. They are currently having an end of financial year sale with up to 45% off. So check out the links in the description below or scan this QR code on screen here to grab your discount. So thanks to EcoFlow for sponsoring the production of this video series and supporting us in this cross-Pacific race. Speaking of which, I should probably get back into it. First came the lightning, then came the wind. Turn off a bit.
Yeah, that's sweet.
A southerly change has reared its ugly but rich in breeze head. Our unease of the rig would be tested. But it was good wind we'd been patiently waiting for.
Wind!
No ahoy, wind!
So it was finally time to show how well this 19-ton boat can move and start catching our competitors.
What a dream! We've just goose-winged, brought out the staysail, which helps us along as well. Yeah, 3 sails flying and Spinnaker is finally flying.
Oh my goodness, the first time in what, 5 days we're actually moving.
I know. Mum just said this is the first time in 5 days we've actually moved. What a huge relief. Let's just fingers crossed and ride this a little bit further north.
Day 5 is a day that stands out in all the blur of days out here. We not only got our first strong wind of the trip and from a good direction, which meant we were finally heading in a good direction, but we had also just officially made it onto the east coast of Australia. Yep, Bass Strait was at last behind us, and the next stretch of water in front of us was one of many promises.
We're heading for like a north setting current that looks quite strong, probably 2.5 knots. So we're just heading out to sea. We're going to just hopefully get into that current, which will help us push us north. So that's what we're up to at the moment.
We set the boat up to head northeast and offshore, out to the northbound Ocean Highway. We wouldn't see Australia again. Another realisation that we weren't just on a coastal cruise. Hurtling along, we relish the sound of displaced water. Our good speeds continued through the night, and we knew we were getting close to the current when we clocked over to a steady 10 knots.
What did you find, Mum?
Squid. But Bear Grylls over here is ready to
Turn into calamari.
into kippers or something. Oh, poor little thing.
God, he had quite the jump, didn't he?
Look at their amazing eyes. So you've seen enough? Or do you want dehydrated squid?
No, you can throw him over. Bye, Frederick.
I saw flashes in the dark.
The front breezed over and the wind settled into a gentle 10 to 15 knots. The clouds cleared and we were left with a glorious ocean and day to sail. Made even better with the assistance of the current that has begun slingshotting us north.
So we've found the East Australian current, which means that overnight we've been sitting on about 9 to 10 knots consistently, which was so nice.
We were determined to stay in its stream, so as the current bends and turns up towards northern Australia, we will adjust accordingly and bend and turn with it.
We're sort of following it around to the north, which means we've just goose-winged.
It was another stunning day. We've been fortunate with the weather so far out here. Beautiful days, but just a little shy of wind.
When I
So even only with about 6 knots of apparent wind behind us, we're managing to do about 6.5 knots. I'm so grateful that we did decide to come out here. We were tossing maybe we shouldn't because the wind looked better inshore, but having this current for when the wind even dies out has helped us so much to keep on moving forward. Yeah, you can see that the Spinnaker's not filling at all, but it's amazing to think that we're still sitting on about 6 knots. It feels good to be pointing in the right direction and also at a reasonable speed. 150 nautical miles off the coast with nothing but open space, we could have been anywhere in the world. It was the first day we felt like we were offshore sailing and like it was just us out here. Now away from busy shipping traffic, we could relax. But we still scan our eyes over the blue horizon. You just never know what you can come across. While the southerly lightened quicker than we had hoped, we were still relieved to feel its gentle pressure behind us as it carried us into night 6, which apparently we've already begun losing count of the days.
What night are we coming into, Mum? Saturday night.
Yeah, but what
night? What number? I don't know. Hang on, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. 6 days, night 6. Is that what? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, what night are we coming into?
I don't get your question.
Just, yeah, what day?
Day 6. Well, it's not really day 6.
Evening number 6.
The evening number 6. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is a tricky question.
That was hard. Oh god. It was only in the last 36 hours that we began climbing latitudes and making good miles, since that southerly change. That meant our spirits had drastically lifted.
Have we got good wind today?
Yay, we do have. Yep, we got comes from that way. 15 knots from that way. And I've got this bloody thing against the thing.
We do have really good wind today. As Mum says, it's coming from this way, which is really nice, and there's enough breeze there to actually get us moving, which is also very nice. Already have we realised that our moods are dependent on what the conditions do around us. Favourable, we're delighted. Unfavourable, we're frustrated and feel we're not doing well enough as we watch the other boats on the tracker seemingly accelerate towards Japan. So when we woke on day 7 to the wind filling in from the east, we knew it was going to be a good day, especially with hitting a new milestone. So it is day 7 aboard Fika and we have travelled 813 nautical miles. That means we have well and truly done 1 Sydney to Hobart yacht race. This Osaka race is meant to be 8 Sydney to Hobarts back to back, but I think we'll be doing a little bit more than that because that's on the run line and we have been sailing far from the run line. The ocean and our days began looking somewhat the same over the next 5 days. And let me tell you, this is what we're chasing. The easterly winds settled in and Fika was in her element. Gliding along at a consistent 8 knots, and we barely had to touch a thing, which meant we were able to establish and settle into a routine. How have you been finding the week since we've found some wind?
I can feel myself going from being really tense and not sleeping and feeling probably a bit like anxiety about our place and stuff to just starting to settle into a nice routine and feeling more relaxed, like not worrying so much about shipping, and so yeah, feeling better and we're heading in the right direction. We've sort of made up some ground, which is really good. Yeah, so I'm feeling good.
Staying up half the night, I'm not sure when our days end and when they start. It really is non-stop in many ways. Mum and I take it in turns through the night to rest. 3 hours up and 3 hours down. It's amazing how quickly the nights go by though. Before we know it, the sun is rising and we need to do our first position report at 6 a.m. This is recording our lat and long and sharing it with our competitors and race committee. We fill the last hour of the morning watch, downloading a new weather report through Predict Wind and plan our route for the day. On this nav specific laptop, we have a program called Expedition, which is a navigational software. Alongside that, we use Predict Wind Offshore, which allows us to download the weather forecast and pull them into Expedition. We can then plug in an NMEA cable, which is reading all of our instrument data, our AIS, our position, all of that jazz, our speed over ground. This is super handy as we can then see exactly where we are in relation to the weather and the currents and all of those things. As the wind is a consistent easterly, our routing at this point focuses on staying within favourable currents.
So far we have got milled up oats, some squished banana and an egg, and we're going to put some baking powder, some milk in it. So wait for the finished product. We'll just go to an ad break.
Oh my gosh. With just the two of us, we spend a lot of time alone as the other catches up on rest. So meals is a time we come together.
Yummy.
Not every day is pancakes, but some days it's just a pancake type of day. You know the ones.
Oh, he really wants to land, hey?
As we went about our lives on the water, napping, journaling, reading, and just being, Fika continued to creep up Australia's east coast. It is a long way, over 1,500 nautical miles. This stretch of our journey was like climbing Everest. It felt never-ending. We'd been on the water for over a week now, and while each day we were making good miles north, we were still sailing in Australian waters. We had come so far, yet we were still so close to home. It was like an elongated departure, passing by familiar towns and people of significance as they went about their lives ashore. It was both mentally and physically challenging. But we kept our minds at the task at hand, focusing our efforts on ensuring Fika was making miles in a conservative manner, as it's important to maintain the crew and vessel, as it truly is a marathon, not a sprint. At this point in time, we have made 1,337 nautical miles in the right direction. We still have about 4 weeks out here. It's pretty amazing that we're well over a week out here and we still have so many more weeks to go. To be honest, thinking about that huge chunk of time is kind of overwhelming, so I've sort of been taking it day by day or coastline by coastline. At the moment I'm focusing on us getting up to the Solomon Sea, trying to just break up the trip a little bit and ticking off small milestones because it's so huge, you know, it's such a huge piece of ocean that we still have to cover. There were signs, without even needing to look at the chart or our position, that we were getting north. After days in cloud, a blue sky graced us and revealed an electric ocean. We had sailed from cold water seabirds to having the tropical and inquisitive booby birds swarm us. And most noticeably, the temperature. It was getting warm very quickly. Which is when we introduced bow dunking to our daily routine.
Well, that was the most pleasant way that I've started my day so far out here. Makes me think that I should try and do that every single morning. It's definitely getting hotter as we're moving north. It definitely feels pretty humid and sweaty, especially downstairs in bed. So I woke up in a bit of a sweat and yeah, that feels really, really nice. What a glorious day today. The sun's out, the wind is blowing, which has got Fika moving pretty quickly, which is really nice, and got some coffee. Feels good on the water today.
With Fika powering towards the Solomon Sea, the next obstacle in front of us, it was nice to turn off from racing for a moment and just enjoy being out on the water, because that is what it's all about.
Show us the greenery.
Coffee and a sandwich.
Something else we really enjoy doing out here is eating.
Delicious.
So lunches are pretty exciting. Before setting off, we realised we had the most eggs out of the whole fleet. We thought 12 dozen would suffice for our time out here. That means lunches, most of the time, have something to do with eggs.
Curried egg.
What have we had? Poached eggs, fried eggs, curried eggs today.
We're like egg addicts. I think I inherited the eagerness for eggs from Mum. She loves a good old boiled egg, and so do I, let me tell you.
But unfortunately,
We've discovered a few days ago that a lot of our eggs were completely rotten. It's not ideal because it's made the boat smell pretty awful for the last couple of days, and Mum and I every single day have been throwing more eggs out. We've been doing egg tests and also going through our egg cartons to make sure no more are going off. And yeah, we had a bit of an egg debacle on board.
debacles aboard Fika come in many forms. Luckily, this debacle just means eggs won't be on the menu for much longer. Still, that's a sad day for a couple of egg lovers. Our lives are simple out here if the boat is moving along and doing her thing. With such broken sleep, you find you only have so much energy to get things done, so you slowly tinker throughout the day on small tasks around the boat, such as managing the power and writing in the logbook.
It has now started to cloud over, low cumulus with the occasional light shower. It is hot and humid, very damp below with the humidity. The battery is 72.5%.
From day 5 to 11, we made some incredible ground, and even shortened the gap between our competitors. All up, we've now made 1,600 nautical miles and have 650 to go until the incredibly challenging Solomon Sea.
Up, down, in, out. Solomon Sea has got us working.
Which is coming up in our next video. For now, it's amazing how quickly the daylight hours disappear and our next reporting time is upon us, where we record and send off our Latin long once again. This also prompts us to start our evening feast. Cooking for us is a break from the outside elements and to bring some normality to our life out here. It can be a bit of a rush to finish dinner and get ourselves ready for the night before we start our watches at 8 o'clock. When we start the process all over again. See you next time, guys, and if you like the video, make sure to subscribe. It really helps us out. Drop us a comment, we love hearing from you, and a huge thanks to our patrons and sponsors for making this series possible. Thanks for watching, guys, lots of love, and we shall see you soon.